Hi, this is Jason from Horrific Nightmares, and today I'm going to do a review for the 2019 film Night. Now, Night runs 65 minutes, and this is going to be quite a list, is written, directed, produced, edited, and acted by Nicholas Michael Jacobs. Now, I was contacted by the director, Nicholas Michael Jacobs, and he asked me if I would review this film for him, to which I responded, sure. Unfortunately, I've had some things going on in my life and didn't get around to it until now, but this film actually comes out on Amazon Prime tomorrow, which is March 23rd, 2019. Now, it was previously released on POV Horror in March 17th. So, as I said before, the two main actors in this film are Nicholas Michael Jacobs as Adam Audrey and Gianna Jacobs as Judy Stern. And the plot kind of breaks down like this. In the beginning, you're seeing a killer getting ready to go out and stalk his victim, more or less. He's putting on a mask, he's getting his tools together, getting everything ready for what you think is going to be a stalk and abduction. So he's out on the street, and he finds a girl walking down, kind of paying more attention to her phone than her surroundings, which is one thing I always told my daughter. My daughter lived in the city for a while, and I always said, make sure you just keep, an eye on your surroundings. Very important. So he follows behind this girl for quite some time. Finally, knocks her out, grabs her, and takes her down to his lair where we first saw him getting ready. To where she's put in a chair, tied to the chair, and has duct tape over her mouth. And now you start to find out what his motives are. Basically, this guy has a YouTube channel or a channel like that, and he's doing a live stream where people are donating to have him do things to this girl, this young girl. Which is a pretty interesting premise, I will say. That's pretty much where I'm going to go with this one, how far I'm going to go with this one. There is more to it. Not much more, but there is more to it. Now, what did I think of this film? And I'm going to break it down into the three major parts of the film. The part where he's getting ready to go out on the street, where he's following the girl, and where he takes her down to the basement, and all of the YouTube live stream sort of stuff. The first part, the camera is basically stationary in his basement, or I guess it's a basement or something like that. So you're basically seeing from just one point of view. It's not following the person around or anything like that. So like I said, you're seeing him get ready, and it's effective, It didn't really go on for too long. I wasn't really bored. Then he goes out onto the street where he finds his victim and kind of follows her and takes her down to the basement. This was the most effective part of the entire movie. It was extremely suspenseful, and it was almost, because you have the point of view of the killer or the person from the live stream, it's almost like you want to reach out and in certain points and say, this is where you're going to grab her, because he gets closer and then he backs off a little bit, and then he gets a little bit closer and then he backs off. And it's just, it's kind of maddening, but it builds a very nice suspense. So when he When he finally abducts her and takes her down into the basement, we have the live stream. And the live stream basically is, like I said, people who are getting on there and want to see him do horrible things to this young woman, where they're donating money and, you know, for however much you get this or get that. And that's the first part of the actual stream. He does take a break and calls it halftime, I believe, or no, intermission. He calls it intermission. And of course, when he comes back, things are going to get more radical and more amped up, and he's going to do worse things to her. So here's the thing. When they're in the basement, of course, the killer talks, and he takes the tape off of the mouth of the girl, and she has some dialogue with him as well, so they can kind of play off of each other. This is where I think the movie kind of falls short. And I watched a couple other reviewers who have done this movie, and I kind of agreed with more or less what they said. The dialogue's written okay, but it's not acted extremely well. Now, take under consideration, this is a very young director with no budget. So he's basically making use of what he has. The acting is really on the weak side. Kind of took me out of the film a little bit, especially the young girl. The young girl, I really wasn't a fan of her acting. It just wasn't believable, and it seemed kind of silly at times. I also think, because I watched Lisa Loves do this review as well for Geek Legion of Doom, and I also agree with her that they would have benefited from a like some kind of dialogue back and forth at a live stream, so you could see how many people were in there, what exactly they were asking him to do. Because basically all you have is a camera that's stationary, that's looking at her in the chair and him doing things to her. It doesn't move. So when he leaves the room, he leaves the room. It's just one point of view. I think they would have benefited from that a little bit. But like I said before, this is a young director with basically no budget, and I think he worked with what he had, which I do appreciate. Did I like this film? I thought it had some definite strengths, some definite weaknesses. Overall, it wasn't a bad watch, but, you know, on the optimistic side, I look forward to what the director has coming in the future. I think if you give this guy a budget, what he came up with was a really, really cool premise, something I haven't really seen before. I've seen something similar done in other movies, but all in all, I really thought this premise was interesting. And I think with a bigger budget, a little bit better acting, this could be a very gripping movie. So, you know, you kind of have to grade on a curve sometimes where that's concerned. The tagline for this, I looked it up, was evil in reverse. Not really sure where that comes in. I can take a guess, but I don't want to spoil anything. Apparently this was shot and edited over the 7 days. 7 stressful nights. No, 7 stressful nights. Over the course of 7 stressful nights. I have trouble reading my own handwriting, but I'm actually kind of impressed with what he came up with as far as like an overall synopsis. And like I said, where he's tracking her and where he's behind her, I thought that was brilliant. It was so well done. Really had me. I was getting nervous and, you know, feeling kind of, is he going to get her now? Is he not going to get her now? So, this guy really has something. I think you're going to be hearing from him in the future. Like I said, you give him a budget, I think he can really wow you. So, but that is my review for Night. Now, this, like I said before, this does come out on March 23rd, 2019 on Amazon Prime. It's only 65 minutes. It's not really a long watch, and it's not really boring. It kind of kept me in it throughout the entire movie for the most part. And it did come out on POV Horror on March the 17th. So definitely check this one out. Like I said, not a long watch, but it's interesting. I really do look forward to hearing what this guy has coming out in the future. Very young director, very promising. So, if you like what you see in here, hit that like button and subscribe. And until next time, peace.